We see acids in so many skincare products, but it can sound like a really scary ingredient. But the truth is there are tons of different types of acids and they all do different things, and I use them all the time in my skincare products. So I'm gonna break down some of the basics on some of the most common acid ingredients that we find in skincare. Some of the most common acid ingredients are the exfoliating ones. So we're talking about the AHAs, the alpha hydroxy acids, and the BHAs, the beta hydroxy acids. So that's lactic acid, glycolic acid, salicylic acid, and then there's something that does something completely different. It's hyaluronic acid, which is a humectant. So I'm gonna talk about those four because I feel like those are the acid ingredients that we hear about the absolute most. All right, so the first acid we're gonna talk about is one of my absolute favorites. It is glycolic acid. So glycolic acid is an AHA, that's an alpha hydroxy acid, and it's derived from sugarcane. And one of the reasons why I think it works so well is because it has the smallest molecule of all the acids I'm gonna talk about today. So that means it actually penetrates your skin a lot easier than other types of acids and just ingredients in general. So that means it's actually gonna work on the top layer of your skin and actually go in a little bit deeper and work deeper into your skin too. And the way that it works is it's mostly an exfoliant. And so it's an exfoliant meaning that it's going to help you shed your dead skin cells. And so it's gonna really get in there and loosen up everything. Like I always like to think of like your dead skin cells are like sticking to the rest of your skin. And so you want something like a glycolic acid to go in there and just easily shed all of that and loosen up the glue, for lack of a better word, that makes it stick to your skin. That way you can just have smooth, even skin tone. And because it has such a small molecular weight to it and it penetrates your skin, it's also helping to stimulate fibroblasts in your skin, which then actually stimulates collagen production. So I find that that's also a win-win because you're getting like this beautiful, even skin tone that feels nice and smooth. You're prepping it for your next skincare products, because if you don't have the dead skin cells sitting on your skin, then you're gonna have better penetration from all the rest of your skincare products. It's a win-win to use glycolic acid because you're getting that smooth skin and you're getting the collagen production. It's always nice. But glycolic acid isn't for everyone. The people that do the best with it are those with normal skin, combination skin, or really oily skin. I tend to be one of those people that likes to use glycolic acid almost every single morning. But because I'm pregnant right now, one of my skin issues has been that I have very dry skin. Like this is the driest I think my skin has ever been, besides when I was like a teenager living in the deserts of New Mexico. My skin is super dry this pregnancy, and it's actually a little bit reactive. Right now I wouldn't call it sensitive skin, but I'd say it's reactive to certain things. So I've slowed it down with the glycolic acid and I've moved on to another acid that we'll talk about in just a bit. So obviously if you have dry skin, glycolic acid might not be good for you. And if you have really sensitive skin, reactive skin, I would also skip the glycolic acid. If you're new to glycolic acid, the way that you can start to introduce it to your skin is through a face wash. That's usually one of the more gentle ways to use it. But I personally love to use a toner. So two that I love are this one from Crave and also this one from The Ordinary. They're both toners. This one has a little bit more of a mix to it. There's a formulation going on with other ingredients. And this one's really just a straightforward glycolic acid toner. What I love about both of them is that they tell you the pH levels. And that really makes a big difference. You want a little bit of a lower pH level. You don't want it too low, because if you go too low, then it's an actual peel that you would have to go get done like in a doctor's office. But you want it to a certain point. So this one is a pH of 3.6. This one's a pH of 3.5 to 4.0. So those are really good levels of pH for glycolic acid in your toner. And the way I recommend using it is to start slowly. You want to build up your tolerance, or at least get to that point where you know this is too much for you. So I always say to everyone, start with once a week and then start to move into, every few days, and then start to move into every other day. And then eventually you might be able to go with it every single day, which I can do when I'm not pregnant. But you don't know. Maybe you are one of those people where it's like, you know what, every other day is enough for me. Once a week is enough for me. So it really kind of depends, and it also depends on other ingredients that you're using in your skincare routine. Just so you guys know, glycolic acid is pregnancy safe. I'm just not using it right now because my skin is reactive and dry. I use glycolic acid toners in the morning, and the reason for that is because at night, when I'm not pregnant, I use a retinol. And so you don't want to pair your glycolic acid with another really strong active ingredient like a retinol. Retinol is also a form of exfoliator, but it works in a very different way, and that's a whole other type of video. But I like to use glycolic acid in the morning, especially because I'm using it as a toner. It's gonna help prep my skin for my makeup and all of my skincare routine, and I just really like the results that I get from it. The controversy possibility in that in using it in the morning is people will say that it makes your skin too sensitive to the sun and you won't be able to protect your skin even with SPF, but that's not true. Even if you're using glycolic acid at night, especially if you're using a retinol at night too, you're still exposing fresh skin. So no matter what, you have to protect your skin in the morning too. So it doesn't really make that big of a difference. The big thing here is you have to use SPF if you're using a glycolic acid. Another note, if you're new to glycolic acid, is that you can neutralize it with water. So if you do start to use a glycolic acid, especially a toner, and it starts to feel a little bit too tingly, a little bit too irritating to your skin, put some water on it. Splash some water on your skin, it will neutralize it and stop all of it. All right, the next acid that we're gonna talk about is another favorite of mine. I just really like acids. So lactic acid is a really nice AHA as well, so alpha hydroxy acid. It's commonly found in a lot of foods, but if you think about it, it's really found in dairy products like milk. These days, a synthetic form of lactic acid is usually found in your cosmetics because it's just more stable than trying to extract it from the milk and then put it into your skincare product and all of that good stuff. But you've heard about like yogurt masks and stuff. It's not because of the probiotics necessarily, it's because of the lactic acid that these masks are known for. So lactic acid is a very gentle exfoliator for your skin. So it's great for all skin types. It's especially great if you have sensitive skin, aging skin, or if you have acne and you want to be gentle on your skin. Lactic acid is a really great exfoliator for you. The way that lactic acid works is very similar to glycolic acid in the sense that it sloughs off your dead skin cells and it helps to reduce discoloration in your skin, so you're getting a more even skin tone and it just feels smoother. It doesn't penetrate as deep as glycolic acid does, but what I find interesting about lactic acid, and it's the acid that I'm using while I'm pregnant right now because I have dry skin, is that it helps to increase hydration levels in your skin, which is also very interesting because when you think about acid, you can't really, it's hard to wrap your head around the fact that it can help increase the hydration levels in your skin. And the reason it has hydrating properties is it increases water retention and it also increases the ceramides in your skin's protective barrier. So it's really helping to make your skin more resilient and more hydrated. Ways to introduce lactic acid into your skincare routine are either with this, it's the Good Genes by Sunday Riley serum, or what I've been using are these ELEMIS dynamic resurfacing facial pads. And I just really like to use facial pads or toners for my exfoliation. It's just an easy way to integrate it into my skincare routine because that's what I do anyway. I'm gonna probably use a toner that exfoliates in the morning. So that's why I opt for this. But both of these products are great. Anna from our team loves Good Genes. I personally just love an exfoliator because it's a very easy product to introduce into my skincare routine because I always use an exfoliator every single day. Like glycolic acid, you don't have to go hardcore with it in the beginning. You can introduce it slowly, start with once a week, that might be plenty for you, and then you can work it up to even every single day like I do. It also depends on the amount of lactic acid that's in the product. Obviously, the higher you go up in the amount of lactic acid in a product, the less you want to use it. So keep that in mind. Again, it's very personal. Acids, even lactic acid, even though it can be a little bit more gentle than glycolic acid, can still be irritating if you overuse it. So you wanna make sure that you're introducing it slowly. All right, the next acid is salicylic acid, and it's a beta hydroxy acid. And what makes it so different from the last two that I was talking about is that it's oil soluble. So it actually penetrates your pores and unclogs them and exfoliates at the same exact time. And I had mentioned that glycolic acid helps to loosen up that glue that keeps your dead skin cells stuck to your skin. But the way that salicylic acid works is it truly penetrates into your skin and unclogs all of the gunk that's really built up into your pores and obviously on the surface as well. Salicylic acid is it's one of those ingredients I feel like that gets overused a lot by teenagers and people in their 20s. I was one of them for sure. That's because we're experiencing more acne, hormonal issues, oily skin. We're just doing too much to our skin. I think in our minds it's like the harsher we are with our skin, the better our skin looks, but that's not necessarily true. It is really great for people with acne, and that's because it helps to stop sebum secretion, and so that's why it can also feel like it's very drying on your skin. And so our skin starts to feel really tight because we're not producing enough oil, but then we start to get more acne because we're overdoing it, and then our skin starts to overcompensate. But the way it works, it's a really great ingredient if you do have clogged pores, because it really goes into your pores and it dissolves the keratin plug, which is what clogs your pores. You know, like when you get out some of the goodies, you know, from your skin. Not that I do that to my skin. You're trying to get the keratin plug out, so that way you can really unclog your pores. And so it helps to dissolve that and get it out of your skin, and that's why it works really well. But I will say it does not work as well on cystic acne, and that's because cystic acne is under your skin and it's more of a hormonal issue, and so it's actually inflammatory. A couple of notes about salicylic acid: I can't use it, I'm pregnant, so if you're pregnant you can't use salicylic acid, and if you're on blood thinners. And that's because it's an ingredient in aspirin when you're taking it orally, and it's been shown in studies to cause birth defects and complications, so you just want to be really careful with it. I think it's just a precaution really when they say not to use it on your skin, because we don't really know how deeply it's penetrating in your skin and if it's gonna have the same effect. So if you've used a salicylic acid on your skin while you're pregnant or something, I wouldn't stress about it, I would just stop using it. The people that should avoid salicylic acid are those with dry skin. Obviously, if you have sensitive skin, I wouldn't use it, unless you just wanna use it maybe as like a spot treatment, which that's totally fine. And ways that you can use it are, you can get it in something like this. This is a scrub from Neutrogena, and I actually think it's a really good one. You guys know I don't really love scrubs per se, but there's barely any beads in this. You barely feel it, and they actually like pop. I also really love, I mean, this is an oldie but a goodie, the Mario Badescu drying lotion. There is salicylic acid in this. It's right here in the clear part of this, and all you're gonna do is like dip a little Q-tip in it. It gets a little bit of the clay, a little bit of salicylic acid, and then you spot treat with it. I used to use this all the time in my 20s. And then one that I really love is this from Votary. It's an oil-based salicylic acid. So I love to use this as a spot treatment, but you guys have actually heard me talk about this. I love using it on like ingrown hair, so like your bikini line and everything. It's a really nice way to add that moisture to your skin while you're treating it with the salicylic acid. That way you get a little bit more of a balance. I tend to find this works really well for people who feel like salicylic acid is too drying for their skin, because this helps to balance that. And another way that you might find salicylic acid useful is in your shampoos. I didn't realize this until I had a baby. He got something called cradle cap, which is really common among newborns, and that's when they get kind of like scaly. So when you get dandruff or anything scaly on your scalp, a shampoo that has just a little bit of salicylic acid in it will help to decrease that sebum production and also help remove all of that flakiness. So you might find it in something like this. This is by PUREOLOGY. It's their shampoo and conditioner. It has a little bit of salicylic acid. It's not bad for your scalp. It's actually really good for it if you need a little bit of help with dandruff. Now that I've addressed those 3 exfoliating acids, I also want to point out you'll find a lot of blends like this one. This is from Ren. It's their Ready Steady Glow Tonic. You guys know I'm a big fan of this stuff. It's a staple in my skincare routine. The way that it works is it has willow bark in it, which is a type of BHA. It has lactic acid in it, and it has azelaic acid in it. It's designed to be used on a daily basis. You can even use it morning and night if you've built up your tolerance to it, or if you've just got skin that can handle it. I find that it works really well. You guys are always asking what's a really good exfoliating toner. I always recommend this one, and it's actually a really great price point, especially when you're comparing it to other exfoliators like this, like at Sephora or something. It just really is a good price point. I feel like everyone benefits from it, and it's just awesome. Last of the acids is hyaluronic acid, and it is not an exfoliator at all, but I decided to include it into this list because whenever people hear the word acid, they think it's gonna be harsh and they think it's gonna be too strong for their skin, or they think it's gonna be an exfoliator just like the other 3 I talked about, but it's nothing like that. It's actually very gentle on your skin, and it's a humectant, so it adds hydration to your skin. A little background on hyaluronic acid: it's a sugar molecule, and it's actually naturally found in our skin, and what it does is it helps to hold water, so it makes our skin feel plump and really hydrated. But we tend to lose it as we get a little bit older. The way to think about hyaluronic acid in your skincare is a little bit different though, because it's a synthetic version first off, and it's not working the exact same way. There's actually conflicting information about whether it can really penetrate your skin at all and really help you. But what we do find is that hyaluronic acid can hold up to 1,000 times its weight in water, and so it really does make a good hydrator, and so people like to use it. It's used in so many different serums. You can either just use it on its own, and then it's gonna try to absorb water from either the air, or it's gonna probably take it from your skin, which is something to keep in mind. And it's the reason why I always talk about not doing your skincare on an airplane. It's one of the reasons anyway. There's a difference between being like a hydrator and being a moisturizer, and hyaluronic acid is a hydrator because it's a humectant. And what that means is it's drawing water from a source around it. Hopefully it's from the air, or maybe if you just like washed your face or something, it's gonna like kind of try to keep that water that you just put onto your skin, and then you're going to lock it all down with a moisturizer, which is a little bit more occlusive. We've also found that hyaluronic acid has antioxidant properties to it, so it's really soothing to your skin, it's really restorative, but it's one of those ingredients that I wouldn't just use on its own. I would always definitely include it as part of your skincare regimen, but again, never on its own. Two ways that you can use hyaluronic acid are as serums. I like this one from Fourth Ray. It's their Rainfall. It's just 2% hyaluronic acid. And then there's this one from Glossier. It's their Super Bounce. It's hyaluronic acid and vitamin B5 in it. It pairs really well with active ingredients, so you're gonna find it like in your vitamin C serums. You're gonna find it mixed with other types of soothing ingredients that are in serums. So you don't necessarily have to buy a separate hyaluronic acid. If you look at the ingredients list on a lot of your serums and a lot of your products, you're gonna probably find that hyaluronic acid is used in those products. One thing I do want to point out though is while hyaluronic acid works really well, it pairs well with a lot of active ingredients, it even works well with your other acids, it can be degraded very easily by strong ingredients like glycolic acid, so you want to be a little bit careful with that and have more of a balancing act. Another note about hyaluronic acid is you'll commonly find it in dermal fillers, the injectable fillers that plump your lips, that help to give you a little bit more volume in your cheek area. It is hyaluronic acid. I have so many videos about filler that you guys can check out because it is its own other topic, but that's something for you to keep in mind as well, as hyaluronic acid is what's being used. So those are some of the most common acids used in skincare products. I try to break it down to be really simple. I know that a lot of you guys are very knowledgeable about skincare ingredients and about skincare in general, but there are also those people that don't know that much about it and they're really interested in learning. So I always try to make it very simple and very, very basic. If you guys have anything to add about these acids, definitely let us know in the comments below. If you have questions for me, find me on Instagram or on Twitter. And also you can find me in our private Facebook group. It's called Beauty and Wellness Questions Answered. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.